the Smiley J Artist Zone, a platform for and about independent artists, music, interviews, and much, much more. Now, give it up, your host, Smiley J.
Welcome to the Smiley J Artist Zone, a cool space dedicated to independent music creators of the world. And I'm your show host, Smiley J. And I want to welcome each and every one of you. Yes, welcome, wherever you are listening from. I want to thank you for tuning in and hanging out with me. Yes. Now, if this is your first time listening to the show, welcome, newbie. I'm going to need you to come on back and hang out with me again. Tell a friend and bring a friend. Yes. Okay, wow, 2023 is almost out of here. Yes, we're smack dead in the middle of the holidays. You know what? I'm no Scrooge, but you can have the holiday hustle and bustle. However, I do, one of the things I like about the holidays is the fellowship, the food, the family and friends, and of course the music, because it's going to be some music played. Yes, I love that, the holidays bring folks together. So yes, that's the beauty of the holidays. But, you can keep the long lines and, spending all that unnecessary money. I'll take a hard pass on that, yes. Now, make sure that you guys put some music on your holiday list, yes, because there is lots of music that's out there, yes, new music, old music, good music. Just make sure you put some music on your list. Speaking of new music, today's guest is dropping his debut album entitled 10,000 Hours. And he's here to discuss his new project, along with some other fun chit chat. Y'all know how I do. But before I bring him on, I want to give him, let me give him his official welcome. Yes. This gentleman is a distinguished saxophonist, musician, composer, arranger, educator, and film scorer. Hailing from the vibrant, beautiful city, the Mecca of music, Philadelphia, PA. I'm going to need you guys to put your hands together, unless you're driving. Put your hands together and help me welcome Hiruy Tifre. Welcome to the Smiley J Artist Zone. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing well, no complaints.
Yeah, good. Thank you very much for having me. It's great how two roads can lead to the same path. It was a calling for this to happen. So, like I said, I'm really appreciative, and it's an honor and a pleasure.
Absolutely, I believe in that as well. Listen, shout out to Philly. I got to shout Philly out because we met in Philly a few short months back. Are you originally from Philly?
I am originally from Philadelphia. West Philadelphia is my hometown.
Okay.
I was raised outside of the city in a town called Upper Darby, which is in the Delaware County area. But, pretty much all my teenage years, I spent in Philadelphia doing different jazz education programs. There was like a great community of just musicians my age, as well as the elders of, Philadelphia jazz music. And, we just always found ourselves in Philly at places like La Rose, at places like Ort Leaves, at places like Club, at places like Kimball Center. So, in an artistic sense, Philadelphia has definitely raised me in that sense. And, the tradition and the legacy continues on. So I'm very grateful.
Yes. And let me just go ahead and shout out the city of Philadelphia, because there are like so many uber talented artists in Philly, from musicians, singers, songwriters, producers, actors. I mean, you guys are just a super talented city. Now, I'm not even going to start naming names because the list is like way too massive.
It's crazy. But,
yeah.
I tell my friends, because, I after high school, I stayed in Philly for college. So, I was surrounded by a lot of people that are not really familiar with this town. And, the one thing I always kind of found myself kind of expressing to them was like, no matter what kind of arts, whether it's performing arts, whether it's visual arts, mural arts, you name it, Philadelphia is definitely represented in all areas. So it was definitely inspiring. So
Yes, absolutely. Again, shout out to all those super talented artists in Philadelphia. Yes. Mm-hmm. Now back to you, sir. Congratulations to you on your upcoming debut album titled 10,000, which is going to be dropping in January 2024. Exciting stuff, right?
Thank you. Yeah, the album's called 10,000 Hours, which is based off the very famous book called Outliers, which is written by Malcolm Gladwell. Mm-hmm. And, I essentially, for those that read the book, it was pretty much expressing how all of the greats, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, anybody that has had significance in a namesake and legacy, Malcolm Gladwell, excuse me, he kind of put this theory together talking about, the reason why those people are so legendary is because they all put in 10,000 hours of deliberate practice into their craft. And, growing up, I kind of found that theory, on a personal level relating to me in a lot of different areas. So musically speaking, I kind of wrote, 15 tracks that kind of describe, what you do in that 10,000 hours, when it comes to the spark of an idea, the work ethic that goes behind that, even failing, what I'm saying? So all those different concepts, I, kind of put it under 15 tracks. And before you know it, 10,000 hours is here. So
wow. Thank you for sharing the backstory on the book, because I'm not familiar with it. So now you've sparked my interest, so I'm going to check it out. Thank you for that. Now, when did you decide, like, I'm going to put out my own music? Now, if this is the time.
Right. Well, like you said, I've been a supporting musician ever since I was like 18. I picked up the saxophone when I was around 4th grade. So I think that's around like 9, 10 years old. And, when I got into high school, or late middle school and all of high school in Upper Darby, that's when I kind of realized that, music can be a career choice and that I found great joy in it. So literally all my years in UArts, as well as, a couple years outside UArts, and like you said, I was a supporting musician, doing calls to do The Roots, doing calls to do Patti LaBelle, doing calls to do Ty Tribbett, doing calls to do Brandy, and it was great. I had a great time working with those artists, as well as, a lot of other artists in Philly, like Mike Boone, our buddy, Gerald Beasley, so I got to shout those guys out too, because, they mean just as much to me as, all the artists said before. But throughout all that, performing and touring and recording, I found myself in consistent conversation with a gentleman by the name of Christopher Michael Stevens, who is a trumpeter from Camden, New Jersey. He works with John Legend as well as Ty Tribbett. And he has an amazing band from Philly called Vertical Current, who I play with them. Yeah, I play with them. Shout out to those guys. Those are my brothers as well. Brandon Mullen, Funk Master. I got to shout out those guys. Those are my family as well.
Okay. And, hey, Brandon and Funk Master. What's up, y'all?
And Chris Stevens.
And Chris. I didn't mean to leave you out, Chris. My bad.
Playing with those guys, I find myself in a lot of conversations with Chris being like, hey, I see you're a lot, you do a lot of great things. You're doing a lot of things, amazing things with a lot of amazing people. I think now is a good time to kind of step out from the supporting musician role and actually do some things as an artist. And, I thought about that because, I never really considered myself a composer. You know what I'm saying? I never really was in a lot of situations to write, you know what I'm saying? But I really sat down, pre-COVID, especially when I was still in college, and just kind of sitting down and just kind of thinking of, just a lot of different musical ideas that I can kind of put on record. And like I said earlier, having this be a concept record, 10,000 hours, I feel like all the songs have some kind of a personal message. Yeah. Whether, me personally, or if someone finds the music, enlightening to them in any way, shape, or form, so kind of be it. So once I kind of sat down and really put 2 and 2 together, that's when I was like, it's time to get the ball rolling. And if you actually look at my liner notes, I actually gave a big thank you to Chris Stevens, because he was the one that kind of, got my light bulb on, if you will, in terms of, doing all that kind of stuff. So,
well, we need friends like that to kind of push us and say, hey, go ahead, let's do it,
Absolutely.
Do what you're gifted to do, like share your music with the world. So I know that, you have a lot of musician friends, which you just named. Let's talk about some of the featured artists on your project, 10,000 Hours.
Absolutely. So I got my man Aaron Good on trombone from Philly. I have amazing vocalist. Her name is Mare. She's from Philly as well. Most recently, she was doing a lot of the Lauryn Hill 25th anniversary Miseducation tour. So you might have seen her doing a lot of background work on that. And my last special guest I have is a spoken word poet by the name of Sierra Chantel. She's from Philly as well.
Okay. Again, look at that. Look at the Philly cats. I love it.
And listen, and let me just put this out right now. Every part of this record is, situated with someone, something, or somewhere in Philly. You know what I'm saying? Like from the studios that we recorded at, to the musicians that were on the project, to the people that helped mix and master this project. Like, I really want this to be as Philly as possible, because it just wouldn't feel right any other kind of way. So
I know that's right. I love it. I love it. Now, you are so blessed, like, because not every musician like have the opportunity to be mentored and work with some of the best musicians in the industry.
The biggest thing that I feel blessed from doing all those, kind of more quote unquote bigger gigs, is that I really got to learn the business. You know what I'm saying? Every time I got to work with a different artist, whether the Roots or Patty or, all the people I mentioned earlier, not only is it an amazing experience musically and doing all these festivals and whatnot, but I really got to see how different people, especially their business team, deal with a lot of different things. And after I recorded the record, going back to our buddy Gerald Beasley, I actually took a lot of entrepreneurship classes through him and his Jazz Philadelphia nonprofit. And it really opened, and it really opened my eyes, because if I didn't take those classes, on a marketing standpoint, on a promotion standpoint, I feel as though, we wouldn't, well, me personally, I wouldn't be as successful as getting the record as to many people as I can. But, on doing those classes and, just linking up with Gerald personally, I really got to find myself more than just a saxophone player, more than just a musician. You know what I'm saying? I can finally, kind of conduct myself as a businessman at the same time, as well as contracting a lot of other musicians to do a lot of different jobs in Philly. So, and surrounding areas. So it's been great. I've been blessed, and, I'm still working with Patty. I'm still working with the Roots here and there whenever they need me. And, I've developed so many great friendships, relationships, and, the future is looking really bright. And, I just thank God every day for letting me, have something that I love to do as what I'm doing. So.
And that's important. That is so important, that you're doing what you love. And I love that you are learning about the business. Like, a lot of artists don't, they lose a lot of money because they don't know the business, or they spend a lot of unnecessary money because they don't know the business. So as a young artist, what advice would you share to, because I have a lot of artists that listen to the show. What are some of the things you would share to that up and coming artist?
I think one of the most important things is that, like, the amount of time that you put into the shed, or the amount of time that you put into practicing, put the same amount of time to, kind of learn about branding and marketing and all those other kind of things, Once I really kind of understood that, then in terms of, like, kind of making my next moves or taking the next steps, it was a lot clearer in terms of kind of how I wanted to go about things and how I wanted to do things, as opposed to having everything I do just be a one big gray area. So I would definitely say that. I would also say, no relationship is a bad relationship. I don't want to necessarily say you're only as good as your last gig, because, I've heard some of my elder musician friends say that, and it's kind of like, okay. But I will say, have one gig lead to the next gig. You know what I'm saying? So everything that I'm doing now, it should lead into another opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how I want to, view that. And like I said, learn the business and just be cool with everybody. You never know who's in the house. You never know who's in the audience. You never know who's backstage. You know what I'm saying? And
that part, yes.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. When I was growing up, I was a real shy dude. It took a lot of me just to say hi to somebody. You know what I'm saying? But, once I kind of realized that, first and foremost, we're all people at the end of the day. Forget the instruments.
Right.
Forget everything else. We're all people at the end of the day. We still sleep. We still eat. We still go to bed. We wake up every morning. And, once you kind of build those relationships, you have no idea. You can be someone that is going to be like, hey, listen, I love what you're doing. I would love to fund your next record. So just be cool with everybody, because you have no idea, where things are going to lead in the future. So
that's very, very good advice. It's all about relationships and attitude, so that's real important. So do you have like a team of folks with you that work with you? You have a small team, or you are kind of...
The majority of things that I do in terms of a marketing standpoint, I kind of do on my own, whether via social media, whether marketing, all those kind of things. I do have a photographer that I kind of have roll with me, my homegirl, Tori Green. I did a jam session in Philadelphia called Studio Wednesdays. That went on for about 2 years, every month in Philly, once a month situation. And she would come through and take a lot of photos. And her stuff is like really high quality. You can check out her website.
Okay.
23photography.com. So she kind of does all of my, like my headshots and all that kind of stuff. Also, I got to give a shout out to my other homegirl, Victoria Wilcox. I've also used her for a lot of my merchandise photography that you see on my website, www.heroyturf.org.
I love these plugs. I love these plugs. I love it. That's what's up. See, that's all about relationships. I love it. I'm about that life too.
Absolutely. And also, like, people wouldn't see my images without them. You know what I'm saying? So, and they're just as amazingly talented as, anybody else that I know. So I have to give my sisters some love. And then social media, email marketing, that's kind of on me. And this distribution, for my 10,000 Hours album, that's all through Soul Spasm Records, which is a record company based out of Brooklyn, New York. So
okay, so you got Brooklyn in there. Okay,
I do. Well,
you went up the road. Okay, you got Brooklyn. Okay, so do you have any scheduled promo performances scheduled for for 2024?
Yes, actually. So a lot of stuff in New York, actually. So 2024, January the 12th, I'm going to be at Zinc Bar, which is up in New York City. I'm going to stay in the Village area. So that's going to be on a Friday. That'll be 2 sets. February, I'm also doing 3 nights at Dizzy's Club Coca-Cola, which is actually the jazz club inside of Jazz at Lincoln Center. And that'll be February 22nd, February 23rd, and February 24th, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Those are all late night gigs. They'll start at 11 o'clock. Thursday is actually going to be, we're going to do one short set, and then we're going to open up the stage for a jam session. So if there's any New York or surrounding musicians that want to come do a sit-in with the band, you're more than welcome to do so.
Cool. So all this information is going to be on your website as well, right?
Absolutely. www.heroyturf.org. So you can check that out whenever. So
perfect. Now I got to ask you one question. Like, do you have any? Who are some of your personal favorite saxophonists?
Oh my goodness!
Just give me 3 names. Give me 2 or 3 names. I'm just curious.
Okay, well, I'm gonna split up into 2 categories because when I was growing up, there were so many saxophone players that inspired me that passed on, and now being a grown up, if you will, there's a lot of saxophonists today that really, really inspire me. So in terms of the people that passed on, obviously you have your John Coltrane's, you have your Dexter Gordon's, and a third one I'm gonna put in that category. I'm gonna say the legendary Lester Young.
Oh, all great, yes.
Yeah, and I'll give an honorable mention to Cannonball Adderley, Charlie Parker, and Michael Brecker. And then now, man, there's so many just killers out there.
Yes.
There's so many killers, both in and outside of Philly. So if I have to give 3 saxophonists that are around today that are really making things happen, I got to give a shout out to my brother Emmanuel Wilkins, who's with Blue Note Records right now. He has 2 records out with them right now. A real good friend of mine and my family as well. I love that guy. I got to give a shout out to my brother Yusefer Ali, who's also from Philly. He was a John Coltrane when we were growing up. You know what I'm saying? So he was my inspiration back then and still is today. And the third one in that category, there's a great saxophonist from Baltimore, Maryland. His name is Brent.
Oh, yeah.
Brent Burkhead, I believe that's
yes.
He is serious. He is serious. Every time I see his social media, he's always doing something amazing. I know he was doing the Lauryn Hill thing for a minute. I got to give it up to my man from Baltimore. So
yeah, shout out to Brett. I actually saw him perform last year. Here in Maryland. So yes, he's amazing.
Absolutely, that's my guy.
Small world, right? Small world for you musicians, and I love how you guys collaborate and shout each other out, and I love it. I love the love. Like I love that love.
And the world is only gonna get smaller the more you live. You know what I'm saying? So
yes.
That's why you just appreciate. I appreciate everybody for their talents. if you remember last year, I think John Baptiste got a Grammy for, best, record of the year or something like that. Mm-hmm. And his Grammy acceptance speech, he talked about how he didn't believe there was like, such thing as like a best musician or a best,
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And, that Grammy acceptance speech was really stuck with me because I remember growing up, everybody was trying to be the best, whatever, I'm saying, oh, I'm going to be the best musician. I want to be the best, this player, that player. But then the older you get, you see a lot of different musicians and just different artists as a whole. They kind of find their own lane and they just stick with it and they become really superior in that. And I have just as much of respect for people, even though they may not be the most technical musician or, they may not be quote unquote the best, whatever that means to them or to anybody, but they found that lane and they stick with it and they stick with it really, really well. And, those are the people that, inspire me as well because, the music world is really interesting. It's not like what it was back in the day where, anybody can just go to the studio and just make a record. And, as long as you have this certain type of sound or if it sounds, if you're a trumpet player and you don't sound like Louis Armstrong, forget about it. But today, you don't need to sound like Louis Armstrong. You know what I'm saying?
It's just like so many super talented folks around the globe that's doing wonderful things, and some are known and some are unknown, but it doesn't mean that they're less talented. So,
absolutely. And I agree to that 100%. And, if you're a creative, all you got to do is just keep pushing. There's someone out there that's going to love your work and, have your work mean something to them. And, keep clocking in your 10,000 hours and you'll achieve greatness. Am I right or am I right?
That's right. That's right. There's an audience for everyone. And I'm going to read that book because I feel inspired to read it. I like to play a little game called Fit B. You fit?
Okay.
You seem like you fit.
I try.
I love it. You said sure. No, the acronym is Fit B, which stands for fill in the blanks. 3 questions, 3 seconds. You ready?
Hit me.
Let's do it. Who was the last artist that you listened to?
The last artist that I listened to? Yikes. No time limit. Lettucey. Lettucey was the last artist I listened to.
Okay, Lettucey.
Yeah, the Let Love Rule album. I was listening to that on the train ride today. So I love that record.
Great artist too. What's your favorite U.S. city?
My favorite U.S. city, I'm going to go with Washington, D.C.
Boom, my hometown. That's what's up. Okay, Now, if you could perform with any of the great legendary artists, past or present, who would that one artist be? You can only name one artist.
I'm going to say Ray Charles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ray Charles. Yeah.
Okay, ding, ding, ding. Thank you. You answered the questions. You went a little bit past 3 seconds, but that's all right. You get a pass this time.
Thank you.
So listen, I want to thank you for hanging out with me and the Artist Zone. But before you go, I know you shared your website. I want you to share some other information with the listeners so they can check out your music, check out your social media pages. So go ahead and drop all of that information now.
Absolutely. So if you're an Instagrammer, if you love Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram. It is at Hiruy_Turf26. I'll spell it out. HIRUY_TIRFE26. That's also the same username as my Twitter. If you want to follow me on Twitter, that's the same username. If you're on Facebook, you can follow me Hiruy Turf Artist page. So once again, HIRUYTIRFE Artist page. You can find me on that. I joined the TikTok wave, even though I'm not really on TikTok like that. But, I got to make a appeal for those that use TikTok every day. So that's the same username, Hiruy_Turf26. And as mentioned before, you can check out my website, www.hiruyturf.org. Right now, I'm doing pre-orders for my website. All pre-orders is actually at a discounted price, as well as free shipping. That's going to end the second 2024 hits. So make sure you get your pre-orders.
Get it while it's hot. Yes. And by the way, I did follow some of your pages. Yes, I did. I want to stay in the know too. I want to keep up with you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, whenever you're in the Washington, D.C. area, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., any of those areas, I can get to any of them, and you're performing or you're just passing through, make sure you hit me up so that I can come through and support you, especially if you are performing live. Deal?
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I said before, thanks for having me on this platform. This is actually my first interview promoting the record. So there's actually a couple, There's a couple more lined up, especially in the month of December. But this is actually going to kick everything off. So
good.
You set the standard high.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, again for coming on the show, and, best of luck and wishes to you and your new project. And I can't wait to hear you perform live, 10,000 hours. You guys make sure you check it out.
Thank you. Make sure you get that.
Yes. Again, thank you. Peace. Be well.
Much love.
You know what I got to say to all those people that doubted us, to all those people that counted us out, and to everybody who said that we couldn't get it done? What my man Jay and John just said. Fuck you.
All right, it's that time. And I want to thank all of you guys for hanging out with me. And a big thanks to today's guest, Hiruy. Yes, thank you for coming through and allowing me, Smiley J, and my listeners to be the first to hear all about your soon-to-be released new music. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. You know what? I don't know about you guys, but I just love creating new playlists, especially with newly discovered independent artists. Yes. Now, you know what? It was no coincidence that I met this young man. He just happened to sit at my table when I was at South Restaurant and Jazz Club a few weeks back in Philly. By the way, they have good food and even better music, yes. Anyway, he sat at my table and he started talking and he said, you know, I'm an artist and I have music coming out. I said, perfect, because I have a podcast that is dedicated to independent artists such as yourself. And voila, here we are today, yes. You know what? Random occurrences like that, I kind of see them as a form of meaningful synchronicity. Yes, if you will, you know. Okay, I digressed a bit, but you know, you guys get my point. Be sure to check out his music, follow him on social media, and catch him whenever he is in your city or town, because I have a funny feeling that you're going to be seeing a lot of this guy. Remember to listen to the Smiley J Artist Zone on your favorite music or podcast platform. All shows are archived, so if you miss a show, you can always go back and listen. Yes. Until next time, I'm going to need you guys to be well, stay safe, and remember to listen to good music. Your ears will thank you for it. I'm Smiley J, and I'm out.